Awesome.
Hi guys, welcome back to one more episode of It's a DARMAR. Hit the subscribe button if you still haven't. Today I have a guest named Jort van Welbergen. Did I pronounce it good, Jort?
You pronounce it perfectly, man.
Thank you very much. So, who is Jort? Jort is an amazing concept artist. He worked on Star Citizen, he worked on Horizon Zero Dawn, he worked for Marvel, for HBO, if I'm correct, right?
Yep, that's
And
correct.
he worked on some really big projects, and he does hard surface, which is my favorite stuff, of course. So today I brought him to talk about cool stuff, his experience in this career, which he has been a long time in, and he has been also teaching. So we'll have a lot of subjects to touch. How's it going, man?
Yeah, all good, all good. Busy with work actually, so yeah, can't complain,
So
I
today I
suppose.
brought him. Oh, nice.
It's not always busy as a freelancer, right? So it's always good if you have plenty to do.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have a lot of work, but then you explode and you don't want the work. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You spin in the circles and never know which circle you will enter. It's something like a limbo of the hell.
Yeah, no, exactly. And sometimes you don't have work for a couple months or something, and it's scary, but in the end, it's all good. So you have to plan for that sort of thing, right? I'm sure
Yeah,
you know.
I agree completely on that. Absolutely 100%. So let's talk about you a little bit. Where are you from? And I want to know, how did your career start? So let's go from the earliest days.
Sure, yeah. Well, I guess the earliest days is when I started out in school. So I didn't really know I wanted to be an artist early on, like some other people, some very lucky people. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was interested in industrial design, and I was interested in. I did paint in acrylics, but nothing really that I could show. Um, and basically, I first I tried to become an English teacher, but then like in the first year of that course, I had to stand in front of like 25 14-year-olds, and it was absolute hell. uh, so I dropped out of that even before the year was over, and then yeah, I just decided I liked art, I liked drawing, so um, maybe I could just see if that was something I could pursue professionally. And yeah, I found this art school that was it was a game design course, and they had a game art yeah bit like on their education, and it was the HKU in Hilversum, and I started that, and I didn't even know what it was. By the time I enrolled, it was too late to actually visit the school and see the open day, so I just had to do my entry exam, and didn't even know what the school was about. Just did it, and managed to get through and got accepted, and then yeah, it really turned out to be exactly what I wanted and exactly what I needed, and I got
Okay.
super lucky with that. So
I see. And what school was that? I didn't hear. I didn't hear you. Which school
yeah,
was?
so there was the HKU in the Netherlands in Hilversum, and I was actually classmates with some other people you might know, Bo Zonneveld
Okay.
and Thomas Stoop, and Leon Tucker was also he was in the same school but at a different education, but the same year as me. So those were the kind of people that Leon only at the end, but that I grew up with at school and that I was inspired by.
There are some big talents there. Like Leon is great. He was last time on the stream, episode 26. But
Mhm.
it made some really cool guys from the industry and talented. So would you recommend that school to people to go to?
I'm not sure about the school these days. I was very lucky, not only with my classmates, but also with some of the other students that I met that were older years, because they introduced me into AAA concept art, and basically made me enthusiastic enough to pursue it as a career, and to really dedicate myself to the specific hard service AAA stuff. And that was Yuri Rosman, who is now working for the PUBG company in Amsterdam. He was at Guerrilla Games for the longest while, and Joseph Noel, who is now a concept artist at CD Projekt Red, working on Cyberpunk. And those two guys, they were interns at the time when I met them, and they showed me the stuff they did interning at Guerrilla Games, and it was just so incredible and so awesome to see that, and so overwhelming. And just to give you an idea, I hadn't even installed Photoshop when I saw that stuff, and it was like I just started out. It was the first year of the education, and basically my internship was coming up in the third year, so I had like 2 years left to learn everything if I wanted to go into guerrilla games, and it was a lot of hard work and a lot of luck, but I managed to pull it off. So it was really crazy.
I can imagine. I can imagine like that much time, like going from that level to another. That's insane. Like entering guerrilla games.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, I mean, I was drawing and painting quite a lot before then, but it was just traditional. I did have some. Well, I think looking back, I did have some insight into design, and I had quite a big visual library. But actually, yeah, I mean, in the end, it was so much luck that I got in. Did I ever tell you that story? It's such a funny story. Um,
Tell
so
me.
basically, what happened, right? So, in order to, there's a lot of people that want to get to do their internship at Guerrilla Games, and so what they do is they look at everyone's portfolios. Well, they're student portfolios, so they're of course not great, but mine wasn't either. That was sort of the thing. So basically, I sent my portfolio through, and I was like, hey, could I please do an internship? Love you guys' work, and I just want to be awesome like Yori and Joseph. And well, they looked at my portfolio, and they sent me an email back for like, hey, yeah, yeah, your portfolio looks good enough. You know what? You can do an art test, and then if you got through that, you can do the internship. But what I didn't know was that they actually sent the wrong email because they thought my portfolio was shit. So I was like super happy. And then 2 hours or 3 hours later, I got another email with like, hey, whoops, yeah, we sent you the wrong email. Actually, your portfolio is not good enough.
Oh my
So I was
god.
like, yeah, so I was devastated, right? I was like, what the fuck? I worked so hard and I thought I could do this, but anyway. So what I did, and this is so funny, I just sent them an email back, saying like, all right, that sucks. I'm very sorry to hear that. Um, could you give me some feedback on my portfolio so I can try again in 6 months? And then I don't know what happened, but I think they just felt a bit guilty or something. And so what happened is they sent me an email back with, hey, yeah, you know what, we're really sorry about this mix up, and actually, you know what, if you want, you can do the entry exam, like the art test, but just know that your portfolio isn't really that strong, so you probably won't
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, so and if you do, like, when do you want to do the art test, because you got 48 hours to do the thing. So once they send it, 48 hours later you have to send it back, and then it's done. And so what happened, right? I know I already spoiled the ending, but that's another story. So what happened was I was about to go on family holiday with my whole family to Greece for 2 weeks. So I told them, you know what? I'm coming back on a Sunday. That Monday I'll do the art test, and I'll just practice as much as I can. So I took my laptop with me to Greece, right? Everyone was lying on the beach and at the pool and having fun, and I was just inside in my hotel room just painting every day. I mean, I did take breaks at night, but so basically for the next 2 weeks I was just working my ass off, and then I got back, I did the art test, and it was the best art test they'd seen that year. So
Whoa, 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 whoa. Like,
yeah, so that was pretty crazy.
yeah. Th-
And yeah, just, I mean, through sheer luck that I was even able to do it at all. But yeah, they really liked that. And then I got in. So yeah.
Good to hear that. I mean, it's fascinating that you managed to do it in that short amount of time. First, short amount of time studying, then short amount of time doing the art test. Like, it's insane. I mean, how do you learn that fast, Jort? What's your secret?
Uh, well, I don't know. I guess I was always really bad at learning, because I was never motivated enough. I guess when I have the right motivation and somehow I can focus, that gives me the energy to focus and to really get stuff done. And also the thing is with most things I do, I really try to make it as simple as possible for myself and really just focus on the end goal, and that's it. So when I tried for the well, the 2 weeks in Greece, for instance, I know they wanted photo bashing, they wanted photoreal stuff. That was something I couldn't really do yet. So that's mainly what I practice. But then also at Guerrilla Games, they're really technical. They're really, product design, industrial design heavy. So that's what I focused on as well, because I knew they wanted to see that. And I think that's, you know, I don't know. I can't learn, everything. I just choose a very narrow thing, and I focus myself completely on that. Um, yeah, it's kind of weird.
No, it's
I
not.
don't,
It's smart, to be honest. Like, if you can narrow it, you can pinpoint the mistakes much easier. That's, I think, that design and life in general is all about. The faster you can find the problem, the faster you can solve it. But many people can't pinpoint what's the problem.
yeah, no, fair enough. That's a good way of putting it, I suppose.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But tell me, yeah, I mean, already your start of career is super interesting to me. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if you want me to continue, like, because then I got into Guerrilla Games, where I worked for the next year, in my third year of my education. Usually internships only a couple months, but they really wanted to keep us all on because they were, in production of Horizon Zero Dawn, and they just needed us. And then I also worked through the summer because they kept us on even longer. But the thing was, though, even at Guerrilla Games, when I got in, I mean, my portfolio was still shit, and I managed to pull off an art test somehow. But I didn't know photo bashing. I didn't know shit. So I learned everything from the guys at Guerrilla Games, and I'm ever grateful for that. Every time I meet them at, like, playgrounds, art department, whatever, I always tell them, like, hey, thank you guys so much for giving me that opportunity. They're really amazing, and it's a shame that within their current pipeline, for the project they're working on right now, it doesn't really allow them to take on many interns at this point. But I can really recommend anyone listening that if you have an opportunity to do an internship with a studio like that, you should go all for it, because it's the best way to get into any industry.
I see. And
That's sort of what you did as well, didn't you, with the car industry in Milan, wasn't it?
I started with the car industry, then I needed to move from it away. But I learned a lot in car design, because car design is famous for the proportions and stuff like that. I mean, and design at the end of the day is the proportions. So before car design, I was industrial designer, but I learned most of the stuff in car design because I'm applying it to concept art 99% of time what I learned in car design.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean, Sid Mead was a car designer, and
Daniel
so many
Simon,
other
Daniel Simon, yeah.
yeah, so many other great artists. Yeah, but I mean Sid Mead especially, because he wasn't only doing car design. Daniel
Yeah.
Simon is, but I mean, obviously amazing artist.
Are you saying I'm also amazing?
Absolutely.
Oh my god. The stream is over, guys. The stream is over. I got what I wanted.
No, I love your work, man. I mean,
Thank you.
absolutely
Thank you. I'm a
great
big
stuff.
fan of your work. I love that we are doing hard surface, and I will tell you what I love about your work. I like the details, how you put them, because it's totally different from how I do it. And I will find the work and I explain it later why I like it so much. And it's totally different approach from how I do it. At the end, we come to the same road. But I
Mm.
think until we come to that road and we go on the different roads, as I like to call it, coming to the end, I think you take different steps from me. And that's why I brought you on the stream, because I want to talk about that. But since you mentioned you loved it, obviously, that they taught you stuff. Who made the biggest impression on you that was teaching you how to design and stuff like that when you were on Zero Horizon Down?
The biggest impression. I mean, it was just there was so many concept artists on that project. There was like 6 in-house concept artists, I think, and we were 8 interns. So it was a huge team just on the concept art side, and all of them, really helped me and pushed me and that sort of thing. Um, yeah, it was Erik and Joseph, and then the junior art director that did oversight on us was Maarten van der Graag. He's now technical art director, but yeah, really helped me as well. Koen, I mean, so many people over there. It was just very great. But then, I mean, it's like, once I graduated, I went to all these art events, and there's so many people out there as well that are so they really want to help everyone all the time, and it's just really amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always nice when somebody gives you a hand when you don't know anything and they teach you. I mean, it's like a gold. Literally at that age and at that development time of career, it's like a gold. Literally, somebody gave you gold. It's the same. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
nice from them to do that. But were you always drawn to the technology, or you were influenced by Zero Horizon Down to become a hard surface artist, or how
Oh
did
no,
it?
I always did that. I mean, yeah, I think I was meant to do art service from the start. Also because I really try to do characters, and my sketchbook is full of like anatomy studies, but I just somehow I can't get it right. Maybe it's just not really me or something, and I really try, but in the end, I just stick with what I can do and I can earn money with. Although, I mean, to be fair, I've done most of what you see on my art stations, like sci-fi hard surface stuff. But then on for Marvel, I did a lot of organic things as well, which is kind of interesting, and mostly just photo bashing and 2D. While most of my work is very 3D. Like the HBO stuff that I did before for like almost a year was very very 3D heavy. So yeah, that's another thing. Like I really try to switch up my styles and switch up my workflows. Yeah, I think Ben Mauro mentioned something like that on a stream once, and was really inspired by that. And yeah, it does help to keep things fresh, you know.
Yeah, you start going a little bit crazy when you are doing the same stuff, same as me. You need to even that switching from 2D to 3D. It's a big change, like big change. Also for me, I'm glad that you mentioned it. That I'm not alone in that. But do you like more 2D or 3D? What's your preference?
Yeah, I like both. You know, I mean, it's both. I mean, professionally, it's whatever the job calls for. I mean, I do like 3D, but it can be a real time sink. You know,
Mm.
especially on personal work. I just start doing details you won't even see in the final render that don't make any sense whatsoever. I like 2D for the speed and just the organic feel of it. I mean, I was already, as I said before, like I painted a lot in acrylics and oils when I was in high school, just for myself, and I suppose that's why I still love the 2D so much. Um, but yeah, I mean both really, man. I mean, I'm
Okay,
sure you understand that.
I'm trying to understand it because I like more 3D.
Yeah, there's a
You
question. You
you
want me to
didn't.
answer that question?
No, don't worry. I'm organizing everything. You just relax. I'm organizing everything as we go. You just talk about your story. I'm here.
Sweet, sweet.
So
Yeah, you maybe want to continue with the sort of the history of me. I
absolutely,
don't know. We're almost
absolutely.
done anyway.
Well,
Uh,
absolutely, absolutely. Tell me.
no, no. So like after the Guerrilla Games thing, basically that was for a year, and then the final year I had to do this graduation project. And that's another thing. Like if anyone's listening out there and you're doing a graduation project, it's really the best time to make the most out of your work and to really put your best work forward, because my graduation work even 4 years down the line still gets me jobs and still gets me hired for certain things. So it's a great time, especially as a student, when you have a lot of time in your hands. You don't have to pay a lot of bills yet. I mean, you think you do, but you really don't. And you don't have any family obligations or whatever. If you can pull off a nice graduation portfolio project, really recommend anyone doing that.
Hmm.
And yeah, that landed me my first job as well. Straight out of school, I started working for Cloud Imperium Games for Star Citizen. Again, you know, quite lucky that they needed people at the time, but yeah, they like my space stuff. So yeah,
I
I was.
think you were a perfect fit for them. I think you were a perfect fit for them. I remember when you did in Fusion 360 that Blue Racer.
Oh yeah,
There was a
yeah.
making of video. I loved it, man. I loved it.
Yeah, and I'm still doing stuff like that for clients now as well. So yeah, it's just really nice.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, very very cool. And then yeah, so after that, I worked there for almost a year and a half. But right before I started working there, literally after my graduation, I met my my girlfriend, now wife, and because I just got married last summer.
Congrats on that one more time. And
Yeah,
congratulations in the real life. Congrats one more time on stream.
thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, so like I met her, so I just wanted to be with her, so I decided to go freelance, and it was really like a, yeah, like just a jump in the deep, or whatever you call it in English, um, because I didn't really have a big public online portfolio and a lot of followers like some people, like Leon Tucker, for instance, or yourself actually, and wasn't sure if I would get enough work to get by. But yeah, basically through people I knew, they recommended me for a couple jobs, a couple projects, and slowly it started going. And that was also such an amazing thing. And I'm sure you know this, but just people are so nice, man. Like you meet people at events, at conferences, and um, if you're ever really desperate, or you really need, to get a job to keep going, there's always people that are willing. I mean, a lot of people are willing to help you out, but quite often there's also people that actually have work available that can help you out, and it's just really beautiful. So yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree on that. The community is very, very supportive. The biggest problem that people have, from my experience, is that they don't want to ask. That's the biggest
Mm,
problem. But
yeah.
I think that the community is very nice. Of course, your skills have to be good to get a job. You can get a job if you're bad. I mean, it happens, of course, if you know the right people. But people really want to help. People really, really, it's
Yeah.
a very supportive community that I love about this community. And because there is not a lot of us, and I think that's one of the best things. So good, good, good. I'm glad that they helped you out.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and yeah, it was just really awesome. And then one of the first jobs I managed to get was working with Adam Hawk on that new Marvel game, the Avengers game.
Nice.
Yeah, and that was a funny one as well, because I mean, when you're starting out freelancing, you really have to try every single avenue of success to get jobs and stuff. And actually, they put out an application on ArtStation for an in-house position for a hard surface concept artist, and I just replied like, "Hey, I'm interested. Would you maybe want an interview or something?" And then they did the interview with me, and then I was like, "Yeah, but would it also be possible to do remote freelance instead?" And they were actually super supportive of that, because they just they really needed someone, and I fitted the skills. And I mean, obviously they preferred someone in-house, but I managed to work on that project for a while with them. I think almost 8 months or something, and that yeah, it was just a great experience.
Nice.
And yeah, and then also in the meanwhile, I met Chris Rosehorn in London. You know him?
Yeah, he was on the stream. I think it's episode 14. I'm not sure, but he was on the episode. Great guy, great designer. I love his stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And basically, I told him that I would love to work in the film industry like he did. And I mean, just the amazing guy that he is, he just started recommending me for positions, and then eventually I got a job for HBO.
Nice.
Yeah, what was that? Last year? No, 2 years ago already. Oh yeah, almost 2 years ago. And yeah, I'm still working with them. And then after that job, I managed to get a job with Marvel, working on the new Eternals film that's coming out next year. So it's just, again, man, the community is just amazing, and
Man,
so supportive.
yeah, congrats, man. Those are some huge titles. Happy for you. Like huge,
Yeah.
huge titles. I wish you could talk about that, what you did there, but unfortunately, we have, because of one NDA, to wait 2 more years to invite you on the stream so you can talk about it.
No, absolutely. Although the HBO stuff I did is actually out. I posted the trailer on my Facebook. I can maybe you could post it in the chat or something.
Absolutely,
But
I saw it.
yeah, so that's super cool. It literally just came out this week, and I can't wait to see the release of that and see what everyone thinks of it. It's a bit
What?
different from my personal style, which is more industrial and I don't know, rough, I suppose.
Okay.
Used. But I really love working on that. Just the weirdness of the script, because it's a comedy, right? There's so many weird things going on. We were laughing so much working on that. It's just it's another thing I can really recommend is work on something that's not serious, because so often we're so like we take our work too seriously sometimes. You know that?
We do a lot. We do a lot. Like I think we are some of the most serious people ever. Even though most of us are creative and goofy, because creative and goofy goes together. But man,
Hmm.
we take it sometimes super serious. I was sitting with doctors a couple of days ago, and like they didn't even invest that much time, and they had patients in their room and stuff like. And I was thinking, man, my life would be so much easier if didn't do it like this, because we go when you go into the design, it's never 9 to 5 job. We never leave it at 5. Like you're like 9 to 9, 9 to 11, and it's scary when you look at it that other people work from 9 to 5 and get salaries.
Yeah, for sure. Although I mean, all the film industry work is 9 till 7.
Yeah.
So it's anyway 10 hours. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, man. And you never stop thinking about it, even at night sometimes. So
Yeah, I wake up with a sweat and I'm like, oh my god, what is it? Like yeah, you never stop thinking about the design. That's the biggest. It can always be improved. Even when it's done, it can be improved.
hmm
Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's
no,
it's
absolutely.
it's it's crazy stuff. But I wanted to ask you. I didn't ask you in the beginning of stream because we started talking. Uh, you said you painted before. What did you paint before?
Well, I'm really into Warhammer and Warhammer 40k. So that's the sort of stuff I used to draw a lot. Space Marines and battles and that sort of thing.
Mm.
And then what I painted eventually was a sort of impressionist. Yeah, I can pull up my. Oh man, if I share it, everyone will know. I still have got stuff up on DVD. Whatever. I'll just share it.
Please
It's
do.
very exclusive. Nobody's ever seen this really before. I've only shared it with friends.
There it is, guys. It will be on internet forever.
Yeah.
You will see what you're painted before. Share the screen when you are ready. I'm ready.
Let's see if I can actually find it. It should be up. Oh man, I have to find it now.
Okay, take
Let's
your
see. Yeah. Just let's just keep talking. I'll find it in the meantime.
take your time. We can go easily.
Yes, I found it.
Oh, perfect. That was fast. That was fast.
Whoa, DeviantArt changed. This is here. I'll just send it to you on Skype so you can post it somewhere.
Oh, you're okay. I will open the DeviantArt as we go, and I will
Yeah,
let me
you can
check.
see some of the stuff. This is all the stuff I did in high school. So
Let me check immediately. So what's opening here? Oh, nice. This is from high school.
yeah,
Wait, Fondrin Volhart.
yeah, man. It was my first LARP character because I was really into LARP back in the day. I still play a lot of D&D.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
A lot of expressive moves. I like it. This is dope. How old were you when you were doing this? This is all high school or before?
Yeah, it's all high school. So between 13 and 18, I suppose. 13 and 19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, this is cool to see always how you developed. Oh, look
Yeah, it's
at
funny, right? But the thing is, like, there's no environments in there. There's not really any hard surface. So what happened?
yeah, of course something very strange. But look at that eye, like eye of a Gomoto looking at us.
Yeah, man.
I love this, man. It's cool. Yeah,
That's fun.
Warhammer,
Yeah,
definitely.
I still play it.
And you
I,
still play
it
it?
yeah, and I still paint as well. I was actually painting some right before we started this. Yeah, it's my way of doing personal creative work, really.
Mm.
Because I find it really hard to do personal work that is similar to what we do professionally, like you do with the book. I deep respect for what you do with that book, but for me, it's
Thank
just
you.
really hard to get started on that stuff. So yeah, and I like doing Warhammer, so that's just how I spend my personal creative juices.
Yeah, you need to release your energy, right? That you have inside of you because of the work and everything, and then you start doing something you love.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
It
man. those drawings, anatomy is so horrible.
Doesn't matter, man. It was like your beginning. Okay, we are
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
It was your beginning. This is a timeline. I would save this. I'm looking for my work from when I was a kid and stuff like that. I need to find that because
Hmm.
it's always nice to see it and put it on the wall. Like, man, I started from here and now I'm here. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh, oh, this is with what are this oils?
Oh, oh, and then what I also did when I was a kid, I mean, I had a lot of Legos, and I would build my own dioramas because I
Mm,
had this set of drawers. Basically, it was pretty big drawers, and I had three of them stacked on top of each other, and I cleared them all out because there was, I mean, usually I have clothes in there, but I cleared them all out so I could build Lego dioramas in there of like space stations and whatnot. And then I would sometimes borrow my grandpa's film camera, and I would shoot small videos and you know
cool,
edit
cool,
them together. Yeah, it's
cool, man.
when I was 10 or something.
Like Legos, man. We are the same generation. Like, I mean, I had Legos. Let me tell you one story about Legos. It's very short. My father hated because I never would follow the manual of the Legos. And
Mm,
I never would follow manual. He hated it. Like, how are you dumb? But because you can't follow it and so on. And I didn't follow it because it was too easy for me. And I always wanted to do something new, something like totally fresh.
yeah.
And every time I was doing it, he would get pissed off because I wasn't following the manual. And now today, because of that, what I did, I can solve very fast the problems in my head because of the Lego, how you can assemble, disassemble, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, and Lego is so great because it simplifies everything and it allows so much creativity. And I actually bought Legos again recently when we moved to this house.
mm,
I bought like the Imperial Shuttle, the Star Wars one,
nice.
and yeah, some other robots and whatever. Yeah, man. I actually wanted to buy more, but we're literally out of space right now because I put everything with Legos. Yeah,
The only thing I hate about Legos is stepping on one of them.
for sure, for sure.
So your also Spiridon has Legos. I always talk with him about that. His son loves them. He loves Legos, and he loves also.
Yeah.
So he's all the time also buying it. I mean, some dreams never die, right?
I can't wait till I have a son to buy Legos for. You know, it's a great excuse to buy Legos.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy. Let's start with the first question because we have
Sure.
to. Um, let's start with this one. Is a freelancer able to work in movies without living in LA?
Yeah, actually, a lot of films these days are made in London. So that's where I work. For the Marvel job, for instance, I was working at the studios in London for 5 months. Most projects will ask you to work on location, though. So if not LA, then it's London. I think London's actually quite easy to get into if you manage to get there. And then additionally, there's actually some studios around the world as well. I know there's a studio in Kuala Lumpur, for instance, that is also linked to the London studios.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, yes, it's definitely possible to live to work on films without living in LA. Um, Mind you also that the work I do in the film industry right now is called art department, which involves designing the sets, the physical sets that get built,
Yeah.
and it's not VFX. If you do VFX, you can literally live anywhere because everything is digital. But I work with people that end up like the team I work for ends up, you know, constructing sets out of steel and wood and everything. You
Yeah.
know, so you often need to be on location because I make a design that then goes to a draftsperson, and they will draw up construction plans that, when approved, get made by the construction team. That's the work I do right now in film industry.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so most of the stuff I do gets physically made and is huge, and you have to really think of limitations because of that as well. Um, But then on top of that, we also do some VFX concepts here and there. But mainly that's what I do. So for depends what you do in the film industry is really the answer, and it also depends what kind of films.
Yeah.
I would always recommend going to locations though, if you have the chance, and it's you will get hired a lot easier if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, today in email and everything, people are always saying, okay, just send the mail and stuff like that. But from my experience, it's much different when you shake somebody's hand than when you speak with them online. I spoke with you online like 1.5 years, something like that, and then we met in person. And it's totally different energy, because it's still meeting somebody in person is meeting somebody in person, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would always recommend meeting people in person, and working together in person is it's just so much better as well. So right now I'm working for HBO, and I'm basically every third week I'll be in London, and then the other 2 weeks I'll be at home
Yeah.
in Italy where I live right now. So I still just because I've worked with them so much, they trust me to do the work from home, and they know me really well, and I'm super grateful for that because I actually get to spend time with my wife, which I didn't last summer when we married. I was working for Marvel and didn't actually get to see her.
Damn it. Damn it.
Yeah, it really sucked with the timing, but it paid for the wedding, so that's all right.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But yeah, so I know it's a very long answer, but yes, it depends on what you do in the film industry. I would recommend going on location, but I know LA is expensive. Try London, and yeah.
Yeah, the London is definitely the hub of Europe for movies, and I think Prague also is a hub for movies at the moment.
Well, actually, no, and yes, and maybe. The thing is, so London is the headquarters for all the film productions that are made in Europe,
Okay.
and then from London they go to places like Prague, also Budapest, and some other cities, and they have studios there. But then the thing is that they build the sets there, but then all the sets still get designed in London. So for a lot of productions, well, I didn't work on one yet, but a lot of productions that start in London, and then they take everyone to Prague, Budapest, Morocco, Spain sometimes as well. So some of the Marvel stuff we were doing was taken to Spain, and so a couple guys off the team then go to those locations to work on. So I would still recommend London over Prague and Budapest. Although, yeah, again, depends what you specifically do.
Yeah, yeah. True story. True story.
Yes.
Good.
Also, I'm not sure where this person is from. Nawel Insua. Alternatively, you can also try. If you might be Indian, you could try, getting into the Bollywood industry, for instance. It's still a pretty good industry to get started, and maybe if you get a bit of a career there, have some money, then try to go to London if that's maybe more approachable. There's many different ways of going about things.
Yeah, true, true. There is never one way. There is always like how many people that many ways, literally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad that you said that because many people today are trying to copy other people, literally, especially in our industry, not just with work, but with personality and everything.
It's a people thing, anyways, just to copy people. I mean, it's the way we learn. We copy our parents, so it's sort of inherent of being a human being.
Yeah, true, true. And I think that every person needs to be unique and to find themselves, who they are, and the doors start opening because that's how it works. I love this Fusion 360 hard surface tutorial, drone design. I love how it opens and everything, and you did it in Fusion 360.
Yeah, that was actually the first thing I made when I started freelancing.
Yeah.
Was that that tutorial.
Mm.
I like how that animation goes through the floor when it starts. It's so lovely.
Doesn't matter. It shows the design and everything. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it has strange properties how it goes through the floor.
Yeah. Oh.
You do now tutorials. You also teach. Can we touch that subject a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So I mean, as I said, like I started out trying to become an English teacher because I do like teaching. I taught, some first year students when I was last year students in my university, and I really enjoyed that experience, and also just to try to inspire people like I was inspired when I was still a student. But then I started teaching a little more seriously when I started freelancing because I moved to Rome, and in Rome they have a nice, well, really awesome art school called Idea Academy.
Yeah.
And actually, Andre Lorenzo from THU, he saw that I was moving to Rome, and he was like, "Hey, maybe," because I knew him from THU, and he said, "Hey, maybe you should try getting in touch with these guys because they're awesome and they have a school, and maybe they can help you out, get settled and that sort of thing." So again, Andre, I know I thanked you many times already, but thanks again for that because that really helped. So I started teaching with Idea Academy actually, and thanks to those guys as well, of course. They're amazing, and their school is really great. Although it might be a little more animation, visual development focused right now. I mean, last time I was there anyway. Um, but yeah, they're awesome people. So I started teaching there, and then from there I also started teaching for school in LA. What's it called again? Game Art Institute.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I did some private lessons with a number of students. Um, and yeah, I just really love it. Like seeing the students grow, seeing them find their own ways. And as you say, like everyone has their own way of doing things and their own way of going about things, and that's so funny to see because I always try to teach as abstractly as possible so that they can use so that the students can use the material and in their own way, and it's really fun to see how they do that and how they go about things. And everyone is so different, and it's very humbling as well because they're so good. It's so annoying, but they're so good. And you're like, what do you want me to teach you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and quite a few of them got jobs quite soon after I taught them as well. So yeah, it's very nice, very humbling
Yeah.
to see. Shout out to all my students. So yeah, you guys are awesome.
Nice. How many students do you have per year? Also, we
Um,
spoke about Andre. I didn't want to stop you because you were going fast. And yeah, Andre is a great guy. He also helped me with something. He saw it on Facebook that I was asking for something. He immediately connected me. So big respect to Andre for helping us. We know how hard he is working with THU, and I wish him luck with this THU in Japan in Kaga. And I'm coming to the one on Malta for sure. So yeah.
yeah, I still haven't been to the Malta one because I've just been busy with work around those times every time, but really need to go. So maybe next year. Who knows?
Next
But yeah,
year. Next year.
thanks, Andre, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so size of the classes. So at Idea Academy, I think it was about 12, and then the online teaching, I had groups of what was 5 or something.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so small groups. Although I prefer private one-on-one or two-on-one or something. Sorry, one-on-two.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I do think it's great to have at least 1 or 2 classmates, but yeah, maximum 5 I think is a good number.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's good to have classmates to be inspired by, to be motivated and pushed by. I know um, I was really inspired by my classmates when I was in school, and they really pushed me. Not they didn't know it, but I was really every time I saw their stuff, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Especially Bo, because he was so good already in school, and I mean, yeah, it's not fair. I had to work my ass off to keep up with that guy.
But always, what is cool for me? Every time you see cool designer and a good designer, 90% of the time, you then find out that he was studying with some other guys that are also on a very high level, and they were always competing during that class, and that's how they learned how to compete. They learned how to improve their art. They had to improve their art, so they followed the other classmates. And it's always good to have that kind of classmates in your class because they show you what's possible.
Yeah, for sure, and that's also again why my internship was so great because we had a really fun group of people there, including Thomas Stoop, who was my classmate. He's now in Vancouver with Atom Hawk, and then there's another. There was a German guy called Matthias. He was there. He's now at Atom Hawk as well. And there's
Yeah.
there's just all these people that all went to all these different studios that I still bump into at events and catch up and see where they're going, and it's just great.
Yeah.
I can just recommend it all the time.
The industry is small, right? You will always bump into someone else, like in the industry. It's so small.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So also never burn any bridges.
True story. True story.
Yeah,
Unless it's a wooden bridge, then it burns.
nice, nice.
So
Um,
yeah, vehicles design. I love this Star Citizen rover. It's very cool.
mhm.
It's very cool. Uh, you use Fusion 360. Which other programs do you use for 3D?
Well, the rover and most of the stuff before that was done in SketchUp.
Mm.
That's still, if I just need to bash out something real quick, is still my go-to program. Although I did all the sets for the HBO show in Fusion 360,
Yeah.
all the environments I did in that because I really love the. I mean, because of the art style, the sculpting tools in Fusion 360 were super useful. Together with the booleans and the super accurate measurements, because for film, often they really want to know all the measurements as specifically as possible, and on that show, a lot of my 3D models, like a lot of my 3D models, had to be accurate enough so they could print them to be used as maquettes and models for the actual final sets, so the director and the producers could approve them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also actually for HBO, what we started experimenting with was putting all the sets that we made into virtual reality with Unreal Engine, so all the producers and the director could walk through the sets before we actually started building them, and we could make decisions a lot better that way. So yeah, that was also really really good fun.
Mm.
But yeah, mainly SketchUp, Fusion 360. I rendered mostly in Keyshot, although I also use Octane. Yeah, and I've been trying to learn Blender for the past 3 years. Oh, it's
I
so
like
hard,
how
man.
I like how you just for 3 years like.
Yeah. Jama just released the 2.8 tutorial, so maybe finally, over the Christmas holidays, I'll uh, I'll make some time and go through all of those.
Yeah, yeah. I'm good. Because Blender, I think it will suit you very well, especially with box cutter and stuff like that. I mean, I love it. I really love it. So anybody that is doing hard surface, I strongly suggest them Blender, hard ops, and box cutter. Like it's insane
Hmm.
plugin. It's insane plugin. Big shout out to my man Jerry for creating it because that's one of the best things I saw in my life since I started doing 3D.
Nice. Yeah, I really need to get on that stuff. We're
Yeah,
doing awesome stuff with it. Plus, I just like the idea of being able to model and render in the same software, but exporting, importing, and all that bullshit. So, yeah.
true, true. But I still use Keyshot the most. I still use it. What do you use Keyshot for, and what do you use Octane for? Do you mix it, or there is some certain areas in which you work with one another?
Actually, I used Octane on most of the Marvel stuff, and then mostly for exterior concepts.
Yeah,
So, yeah, just because of the sky system in there, and but as I said before, for the Marvel, it ended up being a lot of photo bashing anyway, because of the way the feedback worked, and oh, that's another thing for people that want to work in the film industry. On the Marvel job, we had to do 3 concepts every day.
nice.
So
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
yeah,
It's
so like you have to limit your workflow to something that you're very very comfortable with that you can throw out really quickly. I was totally unprepared for that. The first week was horrible, but
yeah.
managed to get through. And by the end of it,
We all
started
go through
producing.
it. We all go through it. It's like you are overwhelmed, literally. You're like, is this a joke or what?
Yeah.
And yeah, the one more crazy part about movie design is that you can have ego. But when I say you can have ego, it's like attachment zero to a design, because you will be working on it for 10 days, and then on 10 day they will come and say, dude, we are designing something totally different. And
Yeah, although I have to challenge that a little bit, because I think it's a balance of ego, because you have to have enough ego to invest all your time and energy and your soul into it, but then limit that ego as soon as they say they want something else, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
that's very smart said. That's very
yeah,
smart.
yeah, because if you get rid of your ego altogether, then you're not gonna care about it anyway. You're not gonna do anything.
True, 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 very true. I like how you said that. Very true, very true. I mean, but yeah, it's not about ego. You have to realize that you are not the lead of that project. And because I met a lot of guys who get very passionate about the project, and then that
Yeah,
happens,
yeah, yeah.
and they die. It literally goes like this: whoop, down, dead, like don't want to work and stuff like that. We also had that in car design, because also things change there a lot, and it's a big checkup for you to see who you really are.
Well, yeah. I mean, you work for the project, and ultimately they hire you. You know, they hire you. They're the boss. They call the shots. It's not up to you to make decisions. Ultimately by the end of the day. So you can always give your advice, and if you're really convinced about it, you can try to make a point. But ultimately they hired you, so it's
The
their project. It's not
the
yours.
client is the client is always right. The client is always right, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I really truly believe in that, and that's uh, I try telling people that I you know my the quality of my work is okay, but it's definitely not the best out there. But something that I do really try to really try my best with is really be the best tool for my client, if that makes sense. Like I always really try to work for the project, for the client, think with the client, and provide the best service that I can. Because I mean I'm not a Maciej Kuchara, but I can definitely be the right tool for the job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're the tool that they use, and you need to do that job good, because you're paid for that. You're not paid to sketch whatever you want, but it's like restrictions in car design. We have a car, it has four wheels. You need to fit the package there. We don't care. So that's how I always look at it. That's your package. Don't go away from it. And artists like to paint around it and to try to avoid it. In some fields you can do that, but in hard surface doesn't work. Doesn't work. You can't avoid the restrictions.
Hmm. Yeah, you're in film. You're always limited by the end of the canvas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True, true.
Can't go beyond that.
Yeah, I like how
Nice.
I like how many details this 2101 Space Age Society has. Like when it's
That
spinning,
was my graduation project.
it's impressive. It's impressive.
it
So
was it was fucking mental.
look how many details. How did you model these wires that are going around it?
uh, yeah, it was a lot of kit bashing on that one. So it's a lot of instancing and a lot of finding things, and yeah, it's actually not that hard if you know the pattern and you
Yeah.
just repeat it. But yeah, no, that was a solid month of modeling. I
Mm,
think I was modeling on that for like 6 hours a day.
mm. I see.
Um,
So many
very
details.
Yeah, it was 6 very focused hours. That's another thing. When looking back at my graduation project, I actually didn't work long days, but I worked very focused days. Yeah,
Mm.
maybe there's a
Oh,
lesson in that.
work less, guys. Don't work more.
No, just make sure you spend your energy correctly.
I love this shot. I love this shot. How it looks.
Yeah, there's a bit of lag, so I'm not sure what you're looking at, but
You will see there is the space gloves, and he's looking at the I think
all right, yeah, yeah,
inspect
yeah,
dorsal radar array.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a cool one for sure.
I love it. Tolo, Tolo.
It's okay if I just get back at Nawel, because you said he's from Argentina.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like Argentina's, it's going to be hard to get anywhere from Argentina, regretfully. Maybe if you somehow manage to get in through like Spain or something. I know they make a lot of films in Spain. It depends on what you want to do, though. But you could always try to get into tried to get into London somehow, maybe on a chance work visa thing or through a school. Um, but I mean, if it's really what you want to do, just try to go for it. See what's the best solution. There's always options. So yeah.
Since I come from the same background as him, I'm not Argentinian, I'm Serbian, but we have same problems. I
Mhm.
mean, this is how I look at it. You have 4 to 5 options. Number one option is that you become really good at what you're doing. It will take more time, but eventually the companies will start calling you by themselves. Like that's the hardest way. I mean, it will take long time, but you'll become so good that you will be able to choose if you're gonna change the country or not, because the jobs will be coming. Second way is to try and get an internship. By internship, I mean you come and unfortunately, in most of the cases, internship is still illegal for them because they can't work anywhere, not even internship, and 90 days they can go there illegally work. I'm not proposing for to do that, but if you're not paid and you're intern, you can go for 90 days and say like you're in the school. And third option is to send your portfolio for 1 to 2 years everywhere and improve. I mean, some time frame from my experience is 1 or 2 years improving all the time, and eventually you will hit it. I know sounds like a lot of time, but it's not. If you are working all the time will fly. So yeah, that's from my experience. Like there is no other way. There is no other way. Unfortunately, some parts of the world are closed off, and for us, it's very hard to go there. But there is also fourth way, and that's enrolling into school. I don't know if
Yeah.
they have this. Sorry for interrupting you. Sorry.
Oh no, no, no. I was just gonna say they have a lot of film schools specifically because there's such a big industry over there in the UK. So, I mean that's definitely the easiest way, but it's gonna be expensive.
If you can get the sponsors, it can go easier. I mean, there are always sponsors that can sponsor you. Also, a lot of what people don't know, and even the worst countries that don't have the money, they give some kind of sponsorships to students that want to pursue the dream they want. So there is always some institution that gives sponsorships to that kind of students. I would look into that because even in Serbia there were sponsorships for studying abroad, and in countries that are less developed, people don't talk about that. It's like a hidden secret, you know. So there is also that thing. You ask, and eventually some doors will open. You just need to know what you want. That's the only thing. So yeah,
Yeah, and don't be afraid to ask and just look around.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The asking is quite important, right, Jort?
Absolutely. So in my own country, we have a saying like you always have a no, but you can get a yes.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Very very true.
Cool. Yeah. So you were saying like you like the way I applied my details. What did you mean with that?
I will show you what I like. So, for example, on this drone, when we go through it,
Hmm.
this part for me is very coherent, and I like how every cable is leading my eye towards the main area of the design. And I like how you place them, and there is some certain balance that's happening here. That's what I love about your design.
Yeah. No, I get that. Like,
I caught you off guard there. You're like, what the
no,
hell?
no, no. I was just waiting for the stream to catch up. But
Yeah.
yeah. No, I do get it. That drone was a lot of fun to work on as well as um, yeah, it was
You
a
see how
little more.
your eye goes here, and then the cables pull me back, and I see everything.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what I love. That's what I love about your design, because you have that sense how to pull the eye. I think you got it maybe from when you were recording Lego and stuff like that with the camera. So yeah.
No, yeah, it's funny you say that. You know what the thing is with. I mean, it's composition basically, and sort of the spread of details is a compositional element as well. And I think maybe what helped me define the way I approach that is the fact that I also do environments a lot, and composition is obviously a lot bigger there than people often think about in hard surface design. And I try to apply the same basic rules of composition and details and lighting and materials to any subject that I tackle, right? So um, I suppose it comes from that, that I just try to apply the rules of environmental composition to hard surface design.
Mm,
Um, yeah, and shape design and that sort of thing.
I see.
Plus, I like to play, yeah, like the visual leads, the way your eye is led. I really love to play that game, where you pretend to be, I don't know, you let your eye be led by whatever you look at, especially if you go to a museum or something. I really like how artists use lines and pointers and pathways for the eyes to follow. Like a sort of hamster maze. I I made hamster mazes back in the day out of Duplo. It was
Really?
my little sister's hamster.
Oh,
That
oh
was
my god.
awesome.
Oh my god. How did that
Yeah.
go?
Not always, not always that well, because these creatures know how to escape.
They are
But
smart. I had a guinea pig, man.
yeah. But it's like that though. I mean, you really, yeah, you tell the story the way your eye with the way your eye moves through a picture. Jori Rosman really told me that, at Guerrilla Games, he showed me some of his images, and the way you had multiple focal points or multiple elements in an image that the art director wanted you to put in, and then the real trick, if you have a really good art piece, is that you manage to start the eye at the main element of an image,
Yeah.
and then in sequence lead it through all the other ones, um, without it being too obvious. But basically, you have to follow the story that you want to tell by the way you position the elements, and by having like if you talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, like have a guy with a spear point at a robot that then shoots lasers at another dude that jumps away from, that sort of thing. And that was always the the hardest achievable goal for narrative environment concept art.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
True. I'm also what I'm also thinking now. Imagine if we had GoPro camera back then to put it on the guinea pig or hamster. Like that's in my head now. Like,
Oh yeah, and then that music.
for hamsters and guinea pigs.
Dude,
What?
there must be Twitch channels that do that all the time.
Yeah. There is everything today. Like literally everything.
Dude, we could totally do that.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that off the stream. It's not for the
Sorry.
stream.
Yeah, it's not art related. All right, off
No,
topic.
no, don't worry. Just it's a top secret. Let not anybody steal our idea.
Fair
Let's
enough. Fair enough. All right.
let's touch one more subject before we finish, because we're gonna wrap up, and I want to touch the playgrounds. We met in Berlin on playgrounds. I know it happens in Eindhoven.
What did you think of Berlin?
I loved it, man. I loved it. Like, it was super cool because for me it was the first time I'm on playgrounds, and
Mm.
it was a very unique concept. Like, when there is the public is in front of you, and there is three screens and everybody is watching that, and then you're behind that public, and the speakers are positioned like that the public doesn't hear the other part behind them, and literally it's so coherent. Everybody is together, there is no separation. The public that's listening, the people who are drinking drink, they can also listen to lecture, they can talk, nobody hears them in the public. I love that. I love how coherent it was.
Yeah, no, it was a very fun event. Although I mean, it was a bit different from Eindhoven, where we didn't have that one-on-one, like everything in the same space sort of thing. We did have that last year, but only on the second stage. But it worked really nice in Berlin, I think, and yeah, it was really fun to see. And I'm really happy you liked it. Can definitely recommend everyone going, of course. But yeah, like playground. So that's a funny story. So basically, back when I was in high school, my two best friends and myself, we were DJs actually.
Okay.
This is how the story starts. And we played a lot of drum and bass and dubstep, and that wasn't really too popular where we were. So it was kind of hard to get gigs and that sort of thing. So we started organizing our own parties, and yeah, really enjoyed that. So at some point it did take off, and we had a couple hundred people every time and that sort of thing. And I really loved organizing stuff. And I quit doing all that when I graduated. But then when I graduated, I started going to these art conferences, and I really loved organizing things. So I just started talking to people about these conferences are nice, but maybe we should do the one in the Netherlands. And you know I didn't even know there were already a couple things going on, but there wasn't anything like THU, ICC, IW, that sort of thing. And then I talk also about this with Titus Lunter, who you know, I hope.
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering artist, really awesome artist, awesome guy.
Yeah.
And actually, he was approached not long after that by the Playgrounds Festival organization, who were around by then already for, was it 9 years, 10 years? Yeah, so they've been doing events for a while, but it was a little more just experimental, creative stuff, not really industry focused. And they wanted to do a pilot for a more industry focused event. And they asked Titus for it, but he wasn't very interested. But because I talked with him about it, he was like, "Hey, I know this Jort guy. He's a bit inexperienced, but maybe he could be a good option." So they reached out to me, and I ran a pilot with. We did it like as part of their main event. We had a couple really nice speakers though. We had a Derek Subotsky and Michael Kus, and was I'm really gonna get punched in the face next time I meet all the people I'm forgetting right now. Come on, that awesome French matte painter, Belgian matte painter that's now with Axis. What's his name again?
Steve Corman.
Yeah, Stephen Corman was there. It was the first talk he ever did, and Leon was there. Was one of his first talks, and yeah, it was really good fun and a big success. So Leon, another Leon, who was the festival director of Playgrounds, he liked it so much that he turned it into a whole event. So like that was just a pilot with a couple hundred people. Next time we did it, we had a whole event with. We sold out, I think, the first time we did it at 1,200 tickets.
Nice.
The year after. And then this was the third year we did it. Yeah, the third independent event we did, and then we also did a second one for Eindhoven. And I play a very small role in that. Basically, what I do is I host the second stage. So I'm on stage announcing all the speakers, and then. Most of the speakers I announce are also the ones that I invited to come over as speakers for the event. So I invite the speakers to come over to the event, the kind of people that I know that are the ones that I reach out to, and then Leon also reaches out to a bunch of people because he has so many contacts. He's a full-time animation teacher, but then he's been running Playgrounds for so long, for it must be then 13, 14 years now.
Yeah, I met him. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, and then he's supported by just an amazing team of people that work around the clock. So shout out to the Playgrounds family.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a great event, and we managed to really make a great art event. That's also which I think is one of the key successes of Playgrounds is very affordable. Very approachable for students and for people that travel from far away. I think tickets for Berlin were 150 or something. I'm not sure. What did you pay for your ticket?
We had some low-cost flights from here, but I don't know how much it costed because I was sponsored by Wacom to go there. But
fair enough.
But I know that if I bought ticket 2 months before that, it was like 70 euros to come to Berlin, because we have a direct contact, because a lot of people from Belgrade go to Berlin. It's
right.
business relationship, so we have cheap flight to there.
Nice. But yeah, so super cheap tickets and affordable flights and all that stuff. So yeah, that's just great, and it's just we're really able to get a lot of people over there. I think Eindhoven this year was almost 1,600 people.
Mm,
Yeah, and it's but the thing is, like, all these numbers, they all sound great, but the most important thing is that it doesn't feel big. It feels like really, you know tight and close, and like
exactly.
a it,
Exactly.
it, it it feels like a small event, but it's really a massive event, and it just has just the right energy with the right people, and it's just really lovely to be a part of that, and very honored, very lucky to be in that position.
Yeah, it was a very cool festival, and there was a lot of people, but you literally didn't feel it was big. You felt like it was 300 because it was the placing of the elements was very good. Everything was placed so nice, and it's coherent. It's a big venue. You go around, but you can move around, and you can still hear the lecture. It's not the okay. I'm not gonna listen to lecture. I go outside of the venue. It's totally different. You are still in the venue. You can hear it, but you're drinking drink on the other side, and I loved that. I really loved it. So yeah,
Yeah, happy to hear that, man.
big shout out to Playgrounds and Jort.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, just to finish off, I want to answer that first question that Noel asked, just in case he's still around.
Let's do it and we wrap it up.
Yeah, because he's obviously very interested. So he was asking, like, for someone who never studied industrial design or mechanical stuff and doesn't have a visual library. Well, just start studying it. I mean, the word studying doesn't involve a university or a degree or anything. I mean, you can study literally anything on the internet right now, and I would recommend just watching a lot of how it's made on Discovery Channel, and all these aviation and automotive programs. I watched a lot of Discovery Channel as a kid. That's probably why I managed to get where I am as fast as I did. But I would recommend that. Go on YouTube. All these engineering YouTube channels, Smarter Every Day. That sort of stuff. And then for the visual library part, obviously you pause the video and then you draw the stuff, right? I
Yeah,
mean, that's basically how you go about things, and you can do it with anything. Obviously, this is the hard tech sci-fi stuff, but that's also how people practice, anatomy, unless they're live drawing. But that's the way to go about things, I think, these days. And you can, even from Argentina or Belgrade, you can literally learn anything these days. It's a great time to learn, to be able to
definitely.
learn.
So much info on the internet, you can go anywhere around.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are wrapping it up, Jort. I really enjoyed having you on this stream tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a real pleasure. So thank you so much.
The pleasure
I
is
hope I
mine.
didn't ramble too much.
No, no, this stream is all about you. I don't know why guests always ask me, I didn't talk too much. No, guys, this stream is about you. I liked the story about DJing. I like the story about painting and everything. I love to hear that kind of stories because they energize me and give me different perspective about the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Not a lot of people know that I was a DJ. I actually DJ'd on the first Playgrounds after party as well.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
Is this our
I
station photo? I have to interrupt. Is this from your DJing days, the our station photo?
absolutely, absolutely. You see, I'm not lying.
Nice, nice. I want to see this full photo like you DJing. I need to see
Dude,
that.
all right. If you really want to see my DJing photos, just go to my Facebook and hit my profile pictures, and then just scroll down. You'll see
Okay,
some.
okay. I will
Yeah,
do
I
it.
was real proud.
I will do it. I will do it after the stream. So yeah, guys, Jort, thank you for coming. This was episode 29. Hit the subscribe button, guys. If you didn't, we are bringing new cool guests very soon, like Jort, and we will talk about cool subjects about art, design, and the career of art and design. So have a great evening, Jort, and I hope to see you somewhere around the world very soon.
Yeah, man, for sure. Have a great evening, and thanks everyone for listening and watching.
Thank you for coming, guys. Have a great day or evening. I don't know what's time at your place, but have a great day. See ya, Jort. See you, guys.